Hello, everyone. This is Linda Jo Heffner, and I am the author of Tainted Seas, My Sailor Story. But I'm not going to talk about that today. One of the missions at the end of my book was to support and help all veterans organizations. And I've kept that promise by going to fundraisers, by helping veterans groups, and introducing different veterans who are now helping other veterans. Veterans, we only have each other, so we have to look out for each other. So today I'm very honored to have John Meyer, who's going to tell us about adopt a at-risk veteran. And I'm going to turn it over to you, John. The floor is yours. Unless you need me, I'm just going to sit here and listen.
Okay, good morning, all my fellow veterans. It's a very simple fact that when I got out of the service, I was fortunate. I progressed greatly in life, but I reached a point when I retired. I came to Lancaster, California to help my brother who was dying, and I spent 2 years holding his hand and holding his head. And I met a gentleman by the name of Steve Baker. Steve Baker was running Grace Resources, which is a very big nonprofit in the Valley. And Steve had a overnight venue or an overnight storage or an overnight veteran home where he could take veterans off the street, and the city made him close it down. So I went to him and I said, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because we just didn't have the funds to do what they wanted to do." So I said, "Well, how can I help?" And he said, "Well," he says, "you can help me." And I said, "Well, great." He says, "What?" I said, "What'll that entail?" He said, "Well, I think you ought to start a nonprofit. Are you willing to do that?" And I said, "Well, sure." Okay. So Adopt an At-Risk Veteran was born. And from there, now we've grown, of course. And our object at that time was just to reach out and help homeless veterans. And we have the highest per capita homeless veterans anywhere in California, especially in our community. Uh, we have a very, very big percentage of homeless veterans. So we started out by visiting veterans. We had a project called Visit a Veteran, Adopt a Vet. And another gentleman and I, who's a Marine, uh, who is a Marine and has retired recently, started the program. We visited over 500 veterans in a 3 year period. Um, that program is still in progress, but it's not anywhere near as good as it was because I lost the prime person to do it. So I was looking at what is the biggest problem veterans have? And it could be boiled down to getting food, getting assistance, getting around. And so I thought mobility is a key factor. If they have mobility, there's anything they can do, just about anything that is needed to survive. Basically, survival is what it's about. So we got together with our board of directors and with Steve Baker heading it up. And I said, "I'd like to do something for mobility." And he said, "Well," he said, "how about scooters?" And I said, "Well, that makes sense. Scooters will get the veteran out into the public and he can go to meetings, he can go shopping, he can do, you know, there's nothing worse for a man or a woman when you have a chain around your neck and you could only go so far. And that's what has happened with the veterans. So we concentrate on senior veterans, 69 years old to 99. And the oldest veteran we come across is a 105-year-old. And she was a Navy veteran. She's still around, very vital. We still see her quite a bit, but that just gives an example of the veterans that we ran into when we did the Visit a Veteran program. That's where we found all of these senior veterans. So what we do is concentrate on senior veterans. We give them a free mobility scooter. This is
Wow.
absolutely free. There is no charge whatsoever. We have sponsors who gladly give so we can buy scooters. And so far, since we started the program 8 months ago, we've provided 80 scooters to veterans in need. And some of these veterans uh, just can't believe that it's happening. We had one Marine veteran, Russell Frisbee was his name. And I say was because he's always a Marine, but he's no longer with us. We had a call from his niece, and she said, "My uncle just won't come out of the house. He won't talk to anybody. All he says is just wants to die." And I said, "Well, what can we do?" And she says, "Well, I understand you're giving scooters to veterans. If he were able to get out of the house, it might change things for him." And so we went and visited him the next day and took him a scooter. And he got in that scooter and he rode around his driveway, and he came back and looked at myself and the volunteer that delivered the scooter. And he said, "This is a miracle." And, we looked at him and we said, "No, Russell, this is what we do." And he said, "Well, I just have to tell you," with tears running down his cheeks, this
Oh,
tough Marine, you know, he was dying of cancer. Terminal bone cancer is diagnosed. And the poor guy, uh, as a youngster, the Marines, was sent to Camp Lejeune, drank the water for 2 years. And I
mm.
don't have to tell you any more about that. But
Yep, I know that. I did a whole chemistry research on Camp Lejeune.
right, so we found, well, with Russell, he passed away 3 weeks ago. And,
Oh,
it's a shame. He was such a wonderful person. But facts of life are nobody lives forever. But as long as there's a veteran out there that is alive and needs help, we look for them, we help them. And not only with scooters, but we also help them get their disability rating up. That magic number that the
mhm.
VA has that
Right,
holds,
right.
holds over your head. If you want a scooter from them, you have to be 80% or better. Well, most of the veterans that we run into are 40 and 50%. Some of them, well, like Russell, he was only 10%, and he'd been
Oh,
treated by
dear.
the VA for 6 years for bone cancer. And when he asked for a scooter, the doctor opened his file and said, "Well, Russell, you don't qualify." So here's a Vietnam veteran with terminal bone cancer who can't walk, and the VA had the nerve to say, "We can't help you." Well, that didn't sit too well with us, and it never has. So, but ironically, let me just say this. The VA has some wonderful people that work with them, but they have a money problem. And I
Yes, they
don't think they
do.
manage it very well.
Mhm. I
So,
think they do have wonderful people, but they're limited with their facilities, they're limited with their employees. It's like fighting a battle with your hands tied behind your back with the VA. They want to help, but they just don't have the people.
so ironically, what's happened, Linda Joe, is in the last 10 candidates for scooters that we've had apply, it was done so with their VA representative or VA counselor. So
Good.
we are helping the VA. And you know what? God bless. Come on, anybody who works for the VA, if you've got a veteran that needs a scooter, you let us know. We're not vindictive. We're not, we're not taking it out on the veteran because the VA won't help. Just a fact of life, but we will help. And that's the main factor with the visitor veteran. Uh, we've been doing that for 7 years now, but we've expanded it now to the Wheels for Warriors. And we've recently been contacted by, I don't know how many people out there know what VPAN is, but VPAN is a big organization in California that helps veterans with anything that they need. they're pretty good about that. But the founder and the main operation is JVS SoCal. JVS SoCal has 30 locations throughout Southern California. And recently we've been joined by Randy Lappin, who's the vice president of JVS, and that we're now expanding to the greater Los Angeles area. So the 80 scooters we gave out in our community represents about 1.2% of the population. So it's kind of scary when you think about Los Angeles, who is maybe 50 times greater in population. So if we had 80, what are we in for now that we're involved with the Los Angeles area? Well, we're about to find out, folks, because we just started with them and we did our first presentation to a veteran in Long Beach, California, and he's getting a scooter today.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
yeah, so uh, we're willing, able, and ready to help any veteran that needs a scooter anywhere. So if you're in Florida or if you're in Georgia or if you're in New York or and you need a scooter, call. We're very well, easy to get a hold of. I take every call that comes in. Call us. We'll get you a scooter. And I'll tell you something. If you believe in angels, I do, because we have an angel in our community who wishes not to be known, so anonymous, that she has already supplied 50 of the 80 scooters that we gave out. And she's committed to as many as we need, she'll buy. So I call her the angel of the Antelope Valley. This lady is an amazing person. But not only that, but we have a lot of organizations now that are coming to bat, and we've had donations. I just received a donation from the wonderful company. I got a notice that they send us some funds. We
So,
have
John, if someone wanted to send you funds, where would they send it?
Well, first of all, they call me
They
at
call
six.
you first, okay? And
Yeah,
I'll put that number on the bottom of this video.
okay. Call me, and then I can arrange, and it can be in many ways. We have a post office box that we send things to. We do Zelle. We have take all the credit cards you possibly could have through our website. So there's always a way for that to happen. But the biggest surprise that I got was when Tunnels for Towers asked me for information, and I talked to a very nice lady there, and she said, "This is a wonderful program." She says,
Absolutely.
so she said, let us consider how we can help. So, I haven't heard anything back on that situation, but what the Lord willing, believe me, we'll always have support because it's a good cause.
Oh,
Uh,
that's good. Now, so veterans can get this all over the United States, right? It's not
well, that's
limited
how
just
we're
to,
going to do it. It's a very simple program. I've made it so simple that it's really, I have people that say, "How did you ever think of doing that?" And I said, "Well, I'm 85 years old. I bust my butt every day of the week to help veterans, but I had to make it simple. And so here's how it goes, folks. If there's a veteran that needs a scooter, contact me. Once you've done that, then I'll make calls out to the different organizations, service organizations, such as the Elks Club. I don't know if a lot of people understand this, but the Elks Club are mandated by their bylaws to have a veteran organization within their organization, and they also have to have a veteran representative. And believe me, the Elks Club are very generous folks. So for $400, we can change the life of a veteran. And that's what we're currently looking for, payment of $400 to provide a scooter. And it's a very simple program. The scooter is absolutely perfect for every veteran. It can be used in the home, out of the home. Very simple. I'm getting a heck of a deal on purchasing them. So we have the ability to ship a scooter anywhere in the United States. And
Wow,
it's
that's remarkable. I live in Florida, and many, we call it God's waiting room because we have a lot of seniors. What if one of my seniors has a used scooter? Can that be donated too? Because
yes.
many of them are almost brand new, you know.
All right. So here's the thing with that. There is an organization, and I know everybody's going to get a little chuckle here, but it's called the Military Order of the Cooties. The Military Order of the Cooties for 125 years have been supplying needs, mobility needs to veterans. They started out with canes in the First World War and progressed now to scooters. So if you have a VFW, Veteran of Foreign Wars, near you, the cooties are a division of VFW. So if you have a scooter that you want to donate, if you just get a hold of your local VFW, I'm sure that they'll help you with that. And if they will contact me, uh, well, I'll be able maybe to match them up with an organization that has veterans that need scooters. So this is a really you scratch my back, I scratch your situation, and it's a very simple program. There's nothing complicated about it, and it seems to be working so far. Uh, so we're just starting. So I'm sure I'm in for some surprises, and
Oh,
when
yes.
yeah, I'm ready.
I think people want to support the veterans. Sometimes they just don't know how to do that. There's people that will look at the veteran and say, "Oh, that guy, poor guy needs a home. That poor guy needs this." And then they say, "Well, how could I help?" Well, if by this video, maybe we can get some support for your organization, and they'll have someone to reach out to that will guide them, to these different things. Because one person can't do it alone. It takes everyone to work together. So we need guys like you, John Myers, to guide these folks to the right people. Because, I kind of work with veterans, so I knew what you're going to say about where to take a used one. However, a lot of people don't know that. You know, our Rotary clubs, our BFWs, our Elks clubs, all of them seem to be very supportive. In my community, our men's club is very supportive of veterans. So
You know,
we, yeah.
Linda, let me just insert this. The gift of mobility is the greatest gift
Oh,
you
I
can
think so, yes.
give now. You can give him food, you can give him clothes, but if he's chained to his home or can't get out in the community, and some of these veterans we've run across has been like that for a couple of years. They are just, I mean, they're blown away when all of a sudden they can get out. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you right now, the R.J. Miller Company or R.J. Miller Foundation is supporting us. They will finance for a scooter for a combat veteran anywhere.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
yeah, so the Angel Fund and that here, angels keep coming into my life, just like you, my friend. You're an angel as far as I'm concerned because you dedicated your life to working with veterans. So, you couldn't ask for any more than that, Linda. Come on.
In the
The
state, in the state of Florida, John, we have along our roads, at least in my area, macadam side paths. And these scooters are allowed to go there unlicensed. And there's a couple people in my neighborhood I'll see scooting up to the breakfast spot or going to the store, and they can go right with their scooters inside. I mean, Florida's pretty progressive when it comes to helping our veterans. I think we have one of the highest number of veterans around, and we have some of the best things. It's a good state for a veteran to move to. If you're 100% veteran in the state of 100% disabled veteran in the state of Florida, you don't pay property tax. which that's a big deal.
Well,
But
I just got my automobile registration and the bill for that, and it was a zero because in
good.
California, veterans don't pay vehicle registration fees of any type. But that's just a little
I don't
bogus.
know about that in Florida. I haven't really looked into it because I myself am not a veteran, but I know that, state tax, and that's a big deal. I mean, your state tax, if you own a piece of property, can be pretty high and take a big chunk of your income. So we're starting out with this new group people, and I'm behind this 100%. And I don't do that lightly. I don't go out and support a group lightly unless I've really checked into them. And I'm behind John Myers and his organization. They get my recommendation 100 million%. So, John, is there anything you'd like to say before we close?
Well, I think all that I can say is that you have to remember these veterans sacrificed a portion of their life that changed them completely. They all, almost everyone, suffer from PTSD. And most of the Vietnam era veterans have cancer. So
Yes.
their life is, I would say, abbreviated because of situations like that. So to give them a last gift that provides for them to feel like they are part of the community, they're not stuck someplace.
Mm,
That in itself is enough. That satisfies my needs for them, and
mm.
so that's how we're committed to do that. And some states have a lot of veterans that, of course, are well off. They're 100%. In California, the average is 40% or less. So it's a
Mm.
big difference there. They can't live on that. The high rent.
No, no,
We're
no, they
dealing with
cannot. And it's so hard sometimes for these veterans to prove their disability. It always seems silly to me that in order to prove that you need disability, you have to apply to the VA to get your medical records, then you turn around and give them back to the VA to prove that you
well,
have a disability. I mean, you already had his records. Look them up.
well, Linda, it's a very simple thing here. You know, what we do is we go on a basis of need and we have compassion.
That's good.
And
And you're filling a gap that no one else is. I haven't
so
come across that anywhere else.
out of curiosity, we asked for the veterans level of disability. It's out of curiosity more than anything, but we don't care if they have zero, if they have 100, even if they have 100 and can get a scooter from the VA, if they don't mind waiting for sometimes a year or so. We don't want a veteran to wait at all. So when we
Now,
find a
they don't
veteran,
have the time to wait. Their life is on a meter that's running out. So that time is very valuable.
exactly, exactly. So, okay, folks, the last thing I want to say to you is my phone number is there. Call if you have any questions. I'll be happy to talk to you about it. And I'll tell you, we've had such a great response here in California that I expect over a course of time, this program will kick in and there'll be a lot of happy veterans out there that normally would not have the mobility that they need. So it's a key thing us. It's mobility, Wheels for Warriors. We're here. All you have to do is ask.
I appreciate you showing up today. I'm very honored to have you, John. And I think once you get on YouTube and LinkedIn and all my social media, I hope you get a big surge of donations and that people will start becoming aware of your organization. Because it's very important, folks, that we support our veterans. Every time you cherish your freedom, remember that it was a veteran that made that possible for you. They're the person that put their life on the line. And I always get asked, why am I doing this? Well, my husband died November 22nd, 1979. I can't bring my bud back. but what I can do is help his brothers and sisters that need help now. So I thank you all for joining us. John, thank you for coming today. And I will see you next time. Look for my other audio videos on YouTube and LinkedIn and my social media. Some are funny and some are serious, like today. Thank you for joining us today. This is Linda Jo Heffner, the author of Tainted Seas, My Sailor Story, saying goodbye for now. Find out words. Okay.
Okay, good job, Linda.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I want to stop this recording here. Now I got to put the glasses on. I think it was very good.